The Galactic Council chamber hummed with the usual chatter of 100 different species, their voices a mix of clicks, growls, and melodic tones. Representatives from the mightiest empires lounged in their seats, their armor gleaming, their expressions smug. Today was another routine meeting, another day to dismiss the newest applicants to the interstellar community. And then the humans arrived. Their delegation was small, dressed in simple uniforms, lacking the ornate decorations or bioluminescent patterns favored by the others. The council speaker, a towering reptilian with golden scales, barely glanced at them. "Earth," he said, the word dripping with amusement. "You seek recognition as a spacefaring civilization?" The lead human, a man with graying hair and steady eyes, nodded. "We do. Humanity has achieved faster-than-light travel. We wish to join the Galactic Council as equals." A ripple of laughter spread through the chamber. The insectoid delegate from the Vree Alliance clacked its mandibles in amusement. "Equals? Your species barely left its home system a century ago. You have no standing army, no advanced technology. What could you possibly offer?" The human didn't flinch. "We learn fast." More laughter. The reptilian speaker waved a clawed hand. "Enough. Earth is denied. Come back when you have something worth our time." The humans left in silence, their faces unreadable. The council forgot about them within minutes, turning back to their grand debates and power plays. They shouldn't have. Months later, long-range sensors picked up an anomaly near the edge of council space. A fleet. Not just any fleet, sleek, angular warships, their hulls marked with the sigil of Earth. They moved with terrifying precision, their engines humming with power no one believed humans could possess. The first message from the human flagship was short. "You laughed at us. Now you will listen." The Galactic Council had mocked humanity. And now humanity's warships had come to collect their answer. The Galactic Council's defense outposts had never seen anything like it. The human warships moved in perfect formation, their dark hulls absorbing starlight, making them almost invisible against the void. Their engines burned cold, no wasteful heat signatures, no clumsy thrust adjustments. Every maneuver was calculated, every ship in sync. The reptilian speaker, now on the command deck of the Council's flagship, hissed in disbelief. "How did they get this close without detection? Our early warning systems should have." "Sir," a sensor officer interrupted, voice trembling. "They're jamming our scans. Their stealth tech is beyond ours." A tense silence followed. The humans, the same species that had been laughed out of the council chambers, now had a fleet that outmatched the best patrol ships in the quadrant. The human flagship hailed them again. This time, the face on the screen was different, a younger officer, her expression calm but firm. "This is Commander Vance of the Earth Defense Fleet. We do not seek war. But we will not be ignored." The speaker bared his fangs. "You dare threaten the Galactic Council? We have thousands of ships. You are nothing." Vance didn't blink. "Then why are your hands shaking?" The insult stung. The reptilian snarled and cut the transmission, turning to his officers. "Scramble the nearest battle group. We will crush them before they spread their arrogance further." Within minutes, 3 heavy cruisers and a swarm of fighter drones surged toward the human fleet. The Council's warships were massive, their weapons capable of glassing entire planets. They had fought wars against empires far older than Earth. This, they assumed, would be no different. They were wrong. The human ships didn't scatter. They didn't panic. Instead, their formation shifted, unfolding like a deadly flower. A single vessel, smaller than the rest, darted forward, a probe, perhaps? Then it fired. A pulse of energy, invisible to the naked eye, rippled across space. The Council's fighters froze mid-flight. Systems failed. Engines died. The heavy cruisers, suddenly blind, drifted helplessly. EMP, the speaker growled. Primitive. Our ships have shielding against. Not EMP, the sensor officer whispered. They hacked our networks. Overrode control. Sir, they just disabled our entire battle group without firing a single kinetic round. The truth sank in. The humans hadn't just built warships. They had reinvented warfare itself. And they were just getting started. The Galactic Council's flagship hung motionless in the void, its systems locked down by the same mysterious pulse that had crippled the battle group. The bridge was chaos, alarms warbled uselessly, officers shouted over one another, and the speaker's golden scales had darkened with rage. Get me a direct line to their commander, he snarled. A flicker, then the human officer's face reappeared on the view screen. Vance's expression hadn't changed, calm, unreadable. You were saying something about crushing us? The speaker's claws dug into the armrests of his chair. This is an act of war. The entire might of the Galactic Armada will burn your worlds to ash. Vance tilted her head slightly. You had your chance to talk. Now you'll listen. The screen went black. Outside, the human fleet moved again. But this time, they weren't just holding position, they advanced. Aboard the human flagship, the atmosphere was different. No panic, no shouting. Just quiet efficiency. Technicians monitored feeds from the disabled Council ships, ensuring no surprises. Tactical officers studied star maps, marking potential reinforcements. The gray-haired diplomat from the first meeting stood beside Vance, arms crossed. They won't back down. Pride won't let them. Vance exhaled. Then we make sure they can't ignore us. A new order rippled through the fleet. On the Council flagship, sensors flared back to life, just in time to see the human warship split into 3 groups. One remained near the crippled battle group, ensuring no sudden reactivations. The second moved toward the nearest Council-held starbase. The third, a single, dagger-shaped vessel, accelerated toward the heart of Council space. What are they doing? The speaker hissed. The sensor officer's voice was hollow. That trajectory, they're heading for the core systems. A chill settled over the bridge. The core systems were the political and economic heart of the Galactic Council. Undefended, because no one had ever been foolish enough to threaten them. Until now. The dagger ship didn't slow as it neared the first hyperlane checkpoint. Defense platforms hailed it, demanding identification. The response was a single burst transmission. Stand down. The platforms opened fire anyway. Plasma bolts streaked toward the human vessel, and splashed harmlessly against a shimmering barrier that hadn't been there a second before. Shields. But not like any the Council had seen. These didn't flare or buckle under fire. They absorbed. Then the dagger ship returned fire. Not with plasma. Not with missiles. A beam of pure white light lanced out, precise as a surgeon's scalpel. The nearest defense platform split neatly in 2, its molten halves spinning silently into the dark. The other platforms fell silent. Back with the main human fleet, Vance watched the feed from the dagger ship. The diplomat at her side rubbed his temples. They'll see this as provocation. Good, Vance said. Let them. The message was clear. Humanity wasn't just knocking on the door anymore. They were kicking it down. Silence gripped the Galactic Council's emergency assembly hall. The holographic display at the chamber's center replayed the same impossible footage, the human dagger ship carving through defenses like a blade through water, its shields shrugging off fire that should have vaporized a cruiser twice its size. The VRI delegates' antennae twitched erratically. Their shielding technology defies known physics. No species absorbs directed energy fire without bleed-off signatures. A mammalian envoy from the Tarkin sovereignty bared blunt teeth. Irrelevant. They've violated core system borders. This is no longer posturing, it's invasion. The reptilian speaker slammed his tail against the floor, the crack echoing through the chamber. Then we respond as we have to all invaders. Total annihilation. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the assembly. None noticed the small, furred observer from the neutral Ivan consortium quietly recording everything. Aboard the dagger ship, designated Winter's Edge by its crew, Commander Elias Rook watched the frozen defense platforms drift past his viewscreen. His gunnery officer let out a low whistle. They really thought stationary guns would stop us? Rook didn't smile. They've never needed better. A proximity alert chimed. The sensor officer stiffened. 3 heavy battlecruisers just translated into the system. Council flagships, they're powering weapons. Rook straightened his jacket. Right on schedule. Open a channel. When the lead battlecruiser's scowling captain appeared on screen, Rook spoke first. You have 10 seconds to stand down. The alien's crest flushed crimson. You dare. 9. Plasma batteries glowed as the battlecruisers charged their weapons. 8. Rook's crew input commands with eerie calm. 7. The battlecruisers opened fire. Aboard the human flagship Vigilance, Vance watched the live feed from Winter's Edge. The diplomat beside her stopped breathing as plasma storms engulfed the smaller ship. Then the fire cleared. Winter's Edge hung untouched, its shield shimmer having briefly flared gold under impact. Rook's voice came through crisp, 0. Every console on the battlecruiser's bridges erupted in warning lights as their systems screamed in protest. Engines died. Weapons powered down. Life support flickered. The sensor officer aboard Vigilance blinked. How? Vance allowed herself a small smile. Their systems run on quantum-linked AI cores. We just introduced a particularly nasty worm. The diplomat stared. You hacked warships mid-combat? Correction, Vance said. We hacked them before combat. We just activated the payload. On Winter's Edge, Rook watched the paralyzed battlecruisers drift helplessly. His comms officer nodded. They're receiving a transmission from the Council's homeworld. The reptilian speaker's image appeared, his scales dull with barely contained fury. What do you want? Rook folded his hands. Same thing we asked for months ago. A seat at the table. You think terrorism earns diplomacy? No, Rook said. But proving your entire military can't stop one of our mid-weight destroyers? That might. The speaker's slit pupils contracted to thin black lines. Behind him, the Ivan observer's ears perked up. Rook leaned forward. Here's what happens next. You recall every ship near human space. You grant Earth full Council membership. Or. He tapped a control. The main display showed a live feed of 12 new human warships translating into the core system's outer asteroid belt, each larger than Winter's Edge, each bearing the same terrible golden shields. We demonstrate what our real fleet can do. The Ivan observer's recording device captured every micro-expression of dawning horror on the speaker's face. It would play on every news network in the galaxy within the hour. The Ivan observer's footage spread through the galactic networks like supernova radiation, unstoppable, illuminating, corrosive to old certainties. Council citizens watched in stunned loops as human shields shrugged off firepower that could level cities. Analysts dissected the impossible precision of their cyber attacks. Militaries quietly recalculated budgets. And in the heart of the core systems, 12 human warships held position near the belt's richest mining colonies, their presence a silent blade against the Council's throat. The reptilian speaker stood in the now empty assembly chamber, his reflection warped in the polished obsidian table. The emergency summons had gone out. Every species with combat-ready fleets was mobilizing. Yet the human's words gnawed at him. You grant Earth full Council membership. Or we demonstrate what our real fleet can do. His comms officer slithered in, bearing a data crystal. The humans have transmitted formal terms. The speaker crushed it in his claws. I won't negotiate with. It's not for you. The officer trembled. They've sent it to every member species. Directly. Aboard the Vigilance, Vance watched reaction feeds from a dozen worlds. The Tarkin Sovereign's military council arguing in guttural barks. The Vree science guilds demanding technology exchanges. The Ivan media networks playing Rook's ultimatum on repeat. Her diplomat exhaled. You've divided them. Not hard, Vance said. The council was always a fist of sand. A new alert chimed. The comms officer turned, eyes wide. Incoming transmission, from the Krillix matriarchy. The screen resolved to reveal a towering insectoid figure, her chitin gleaming like oil. The Krillix had sat out every council war for centuries. Their fleet was legend. You fight well, the matriarch buzzed. But even your shields cannot withstand antimatter torpedoes. Vance didn't blink. Test that theory, and we'll see who still has shipyards by dawn. Silence. Then, unthinkably, a chittering laugh. We decline. The Krillix recognize Earth's sovereignty. Send ambassadors. The feed died. The diplomat gaped. They just picked the winning side, Vance finished. On Winter's Edge, Rook studied the system map. The paralyzed battlecruisers had been boarded peacefully, their crews confined but unharmed. The mining colonies buzzed with panic. His sensor officer cursed. New contacts, 30, no, 40 signatures translating in. Rook's hand hovered over the weapons console, then paused as the signatures resolved. Not council reinforcements. Freighters. The lead vessel hailed them. A grizzled Tarkin captain growled, "We're neutral traders. Here for the humans." Diplomatic package. Rook smiled. The package was terabytes of data, proof of council corruption, hidden wars, exploited species. Blackmail, if you were cynical. Liberation theology, if you weren't. Transmitting, he said. Across the galaxy, 100 oppressed species would soon know their masters were vulnerable. The speaker felt the shift before the reports came in. The Krillix defection. The traitor exodus. The riots on 3 frontier worlds. His aide rushed in, breathless. The Luron Dominion just recalled their fleets. They say. I know what they say. The speaker's roar echoed through empty halls. Earth didn't need to fire another shot. They were winning the war by doing what humans did best, spreading ideas. The speaker's private chambers reeked of spilled venom wine and scorched metal. Smashed console spat sparks across the floor as he paced, his claws leaving deep gouges in the iridium plating. Every monitor displayed fresh disasters, mining colonies declaring independence, mercenary fleets defecting to human-aligned factions, even his own guards exchanging uneasy glances when they thought he couldn't see. His last loyal aide slithered through the ruined doorway, clutching a data slab. The Luron fleets have fully withdrawn from the Sol blockade. Their High Council just released a statement recognizing Earth's. The slab shattered against the wall. Traitors, the speaker hissed. All of them. A new alert pulsed on his wrist terminal, encrypted, high priority. He almost dismissed it before recognizing the sender code. His blood ran cold. The Elder Nest was summoning him. Aboard the Vigilance, Vance studied the holographic star map now glowing with new colors. Blue for human-aligned systems. Red for council holdouts. A spreading bruise of purple for neutral factions leaning their way. Her comms officer grinned. The Rixian merchant clans just offered us exclusive dark matter contracts. The diplomat, once so cautious, now leaned forward eagerly. The Solaris Concord wants mutual defense pacts. Vance said nothing. Her eyes were fixed on one unblinking red dot at the map center, the Council homeworld. "Ma'am," the officer prompted. She touched the dot. It zoomed to reveal something new, a massive energy spike beneath the planet's surface. "They're activating something." Deep under the Council capital's crystalline spires, the speaker knelt in the sacred gloom of the Elder Nest. The air thrummed with subsonic harmonics, vibrating his bones. Before him, wreathed in bioluminescent mist, floated the last surviving Elder, a being so ancient its reptilian features had blurred beneath layers of translucent cybernetic grafts. "You let vermin breach the core." The Elder's voice wasn't sound, but pain directly injected into his nervous system. The speaker pressed his forehead to the cold floor. "We underestimated their..." Silence. A vision seared into his mind, a machine buried beneath their feet, older than the Council itself. A relic from the first spacefaring species, found and kept secret for millennia. A planet killer. The speaker gasped. The forge, but the radiation would burn half the system? The Elder's mental laugh felt like dying neurons. Better than surrender. Rook felt it first aboard Winter's Edge, a gravitational anomaly from the Council world. His science officer turned ashen. "Sir, their planetary core, it's changing." The readings made no sense. The planet's molten core was swirling into unnatural patterns, generating energies that warped local spacetime. Radiation spikes would sterilize nearby colonies within hours. Then the Ivan observer's frantic transmission arrived. "They're activating the forge." "It's not a weapon, it's a factory." Rook's blood turned to ice. "All ships, battle stations. They're not trying to kill us, they're building something." Vance saw the truth a second later. The energy signatures matched ancient records from a long-dead empire. Oh God! It's a self-replicating warship foundry. The hologram updated, geometric shapes blossoming in the planet's mantle. Dozens. Hundreds. Each a perfect copy of the Council's most advanced dreadnought, birthed from planetary blood sacrifice. Her diplomat stumbled back. "They'll drown us in ships." Vance's fingers flew across the tactical console. "Not if we scorch the womb first." The order went out to every human vessel. Burn the forge. At any cost. The Vigilance's bridge lights dimmed as Vance initiated Omega Protocol. Across the fleet, reactors whined to maximum burn. Rook's voice crackled over the secured channel. "You realize we're basically throwing rocks at a god machine, right?" Vance allowed herself a grim smile. "Then let's show them what humans do with rocks." The Forge's firstborn dreadnought breached the Council world's crust in a shower of molten rock, its obsidian hull already cooling in the vacuum. Then another. And another. They moved with eerie synchronicity, not yet fully powered, but multiplying faster than the human fleet could target. The Winter's Edge's tactical officer swore. "At this rate, they'll outnumber us 10-1 in 6 minutes." Rook studied the feed, the planet's surface splitting like rotten fruit, more dreadnoughts emerging. "Vance, we need..." "Already on it," her voice cut in. "Deploying Kintsugi." A single, unmarked human vessel streaked past the fleet. The Elder Nest's sanctum shook as the first human missile struck the planetary shields. The speaker, still prostrate before the cybernetic Elder, felt the ancient being's contempt. They waste firepower on defensive screens. Pathetic. Then alarms shrieked. The speaker's implant feed showed the unmarked ship, small, fast, dodging through the emerging dreadnoughts. Not attacking. Not even slowing. Just diving straight toward the largest crustal rupture. The Elder's psychic scream filled his skull, and oh. That's. Aboard the Kintsugi, Commander Lyle Keyes adjusted his oxygen mask. The ship's interior was stripped bare, no weapons, no shields, just engines and a warhead even the humans feared. His co-pilot, a young engineer with shaking hands, whispered, "Sir, we won't survive the detonation." Keyes checked the countdown. "I know." "Then why?" "Because some doors should stay buried." He punched the final sequence. The Kintsugi's hull split open as it plunged into the planet's wound, revealing not a bomb, but a singularity core stolen from a dead star. Vance watched the sensors scream as spacetime itself twisted. The Council world's gravity field spasmed, first flattening, then inverting. The newborn dreadnoughts froze mid-launch, dragged back toward the rupture like moths to flame. Rook's voice was raw, "They're crushing themselves." The planet's crust collapsed inward, the forge's own replication energy feeding the black hole's growth. Atmosphere geysered into space. Dreadnoughts shattered like glass against each other. Then, silence. Where a world had been, only a shimmering debris field remained, and at its heart, a perfectly spherical crater of molten rock, cooling rapidly in the void. The speaker's last transmission reached every surviving Council ship, a howl of pure rage cut mid-screech as his shuttle was swallowed by the collapse. Across the system, battles froze. Mercenaries lowered weapons. The Krillix matriarch's new message was succinct: "The Council is dead. Long live the New Order." 3 standard days later, Vance stood in what had been the enemy's greatest hall, now draped with human banners. The surviving species delegates sat not in tiers, but at a round table. The Ivan observer, recording everything, finally asked the question burning across the galaxy: "What now?" Vance placed a simple data chip on the table. "Now we rebuild. Together." The chip projected Earth's first gift, blueprints for the Golden Shields. Not as a weapon. As an offering.